So a lot of young people think they're doing the right thing, think they're nobly pushing back against the occupiers keeping innocent Palestinians down. And sure, they're doing it by tearing down the pictures of children who are being held hostage right now, which is incredibly weird and creepy and morally insane, but whatever. They're young kids. They mean well. Let's move on from that. So college students across the nation have rushed to judgment and are now backing a literal terrorist organization. Whoops. They're backing terrorist Hamas over America's ally, progressive democracy Israel, the one supposed to be safe home in the entire world for the Jewish people. Maybe don't do that. Maybe don't piggyback your complaints about Israel's blockade of Gaza in the immediate aftermath of a horrific terrorist attack on innocent people. It's not a good look. In fact, it's horrifying itself. Don't look now. Your anti-Semitism is showing. Because if you cared so much about the freedom of the Palestinian people, where were your end the occupation protests, say, 3 weeks ago? Where were your end the terrorism protests 2.5 weeks ago when Israel was attacked? Somehow you only took to the streets when the Jews responded to being murdered. Super odd, no? And BT dubs, I bet you didn't even know the occupation of Gaza ended actually in 2005. There's just still a blockade, which Israel does for safety. But I agree, needs to end. But also tough to end when, if you don't block them, they will slaughter even more of you. But whatever, small detail. If you go protest chanting Free Palestine, however, without understanding the incredibly complex history of the region, I hate to tell you this, but you're basic. And if you chant this slogan that empowers bigoted hate mongers to hate more Jews, and instantly you see Jews being seen as less than around the globe, and hate crimes against Jews instantly rising, and Jews being killed here in America, you're not just basic, actually. You're dangerous. You're basic and dangerous. Since when would you ever do anything that would make it easier for someone to hate or harm or kill another group of people? What kind of trash person would you be? And Muslims are being killed too. And that's equally as horrible and equally as sad. And it's equally caused by you protesting this issue as though it's Israelis versus Palestinians. Because it's not. It's Israelis and Palestinians against a terror organization called Hamas that doesn't value either group's lives. And that's why we all should be just protesting them. Because I don't know if you heard this, but both Jews and Palestinians are human beings. And so they are of exactly equal value. So this is not us versus them. This is human beings who all want the same things, to live happily and freely and safe from harm, and just be able to comfortably enjoy this one life we have. Because this is complex, but that part should be easy. You have to care for the humanity of both sides. Both. The only side you can't choose is the side of the terrorists. I cannot believe that's a sentence I just had to say. Just don't throw your morality out with the bathwater. You see, Israel responds to a terrorist attack by trying to take out the terrorists, and you protest the victims of the terror attacks? Yes, innocent Palestinian lives have been lost. A lot of them. And it is very, very tragic. And Israel needs to work a lot harder at minimizing it. But also, in fairness, Israel is trying to minimize civilian casualties when bombing buildings that are the strongholds of terrorists. They are warning civilians in as many ways as they can, calling their cell phones, announcing it on TV and social media, even dropping leaflets from the sky, while Hamas is telling its people to stay there in harm's way. But why do the details matter when you have uninformed feelings? You do you. But if I may, just for the record, marching while chanting, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," FYI, passionate college kids, means you're advocating for genocide against all Jews in Israel. The river means the Jordan River, and the sea means the Mediterranean Sea. All of Israel is between that, meaning all of Israel would be gone, and it would be just for the Palestinians. Bye-bye, all Jews. And as a bonus gift, you're creating millions of uneducated, hateful people, now actively hating Jewish people here in America. People who don't understand this conflict are empowering millions of people who know zero about it to intimidate and scare Jewish people around the globe. We're starting to be afraid to even go out in public because of you. Thanks so much. Super cool. And it's due to your very well-meaning, completely uneducated, incredibly dangerous idiocy. What do they win, Bob? They win the guilt of creating hatred for a group of people who do not deserve it. But don't take my word for it. A Harvard Harris poll conducted just last week found a majority of American voters side more with Israel than with Hamas. But college-age students, not so much. When voters were asked who they sided with more in the Israel-Hamas conflict, 95% of voters aged 65 and older said Israel only 5% saying Hamas. But in the 18 to 24 age range, 52% said Israel, while 48% said Hamas. Almost half side with actual terrorists who behead people, murder parents in front of their children, and then watch the children bleed out while drinking an ice-cold Coke from the family's fridge. That's who you're supporting. That happened. Supporting that, I mean, there are no words for that. I guess good for you? Your parents must be so proud. 45% still believe Israel bombed the hospital, which it did not. And the majority believe Iran does not support these attacks, which they do, which they fund. You know, the same Iran you were protesting against for beating and jailing and murdering women who didn't wear their head coverings, exactly like Hamas does. You know how it should be in modern life, I guess. Woman, life, freedom, remember that? Well, you know where women have freedom in their lives? Israel, not Gaza. Wow, you are not doing well on this quiz. Oh, also, according to the Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic attacks across the U.S. are up 388% since this war started. Wow, I guess we've entered double jeopardy now. Here's another fun finding of the Capps-Harris poll. 51% said Hamas was justified in their slaughter of Israeli citizens, and 52% of college-age students said Israel is not justified in eliminating Hamas in Gaza after it carried out its terrorist attack. Friendly reminder, the unprovoked attack that killed over 1,400 people. Not justified in taking out the terrorists that slaughtered them. How crazy is that? I would have to assume these students also don't lock their doors at night and put a sign outside that says, "Come murder me." Same logic. But these college students are inadvertently, I hope, supporting the annihilation of all Israelis, not just 1,400. Here's where the numbers can really change. From the river to the sea, your ignorance is frightening. The Israelis were just horrifically attacked, yet they are not even calling for the annihilation of Palestinians. They would never want that. They are not even saying Palestinians should not have their own state. They would never want that. They just want the terrorists gone so they can live in peace, so they can have their own state. But you want the Jewish state to be gone? You here in America are deciding for the Jews that they can no longer have the one safe haven we have in the world after the Holocaust, where 6 million of us were killed in an actual genocide? Are you trying to get an invite to Kanye West's birthday party? Who are you? Unleashing hate on a topic you do not understand? How adorable. Despicable, but cute. But if you're still against the way Israel is carrying out their need to stay safe from slaughter at the hands of terrorists, and don't get me wrong, I too have been deeply disturbed by seeing videos of children being injured and killed as well. And I think putting pressure on Israel to show more and more restraint to avoid more of that horror wherever possible is a great thing to protest for. So maybe go protest that. Or better yet, just protest for peace. Protest for a humanitarian ceasefire maybe, so Palestinians can be given more aid and given more time to get to safety before Israel rids the Palestinians and the whole world of the terrorists who are ruling over them. But just don't protest against Israel's right to exist. Don't inadvertently protest for the annihilation of the 7 million Jews in Israel, almost half the total number of Jews worldwide. And so also don't accidentally protest for hatred towards all of us. Don't give cover for hate crimes against people because you have a simplistic understanding of the most complicated issue of our time. Be better than that. Don't risk people's lives while you think you're doing the opposite. Don't be basic. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ, hoping you start caring about all of humanity, not just the group you read a couple memes about.